actually holds any intrinsic value. In 1984, the movie, patterned after the book by Orwell, there's the hypercube, representing totalitarian control. We control everything. I mean, how many more examples would we need? Let's get into words, because words ultimately control the world. If we don't understand how occultists use words through what's known as green language, which you can only really understand if you balance the brain hemispheres, this is occult wordplay. We look at the word police, break it in half. Pole ice. Okay, so pole ice. Right? Pole ice. They're referring to the middle pillar. This is dark Masonic mockery. If you're being called pole ice, well, what does that mean? That means you're acting as an agent on that middle pillar that is preventing anyone from climbing it. Try to climb an icy pole. See what happens. You're not going to make it very far. And that's why we're not really making it very far. We're stagnating. And the stagnating force, this is what these people are being used to do, to stagnate the spiritual evolutionary development of humanity, and they don't even know that. Whole eyes, they're being called. The identity in a state of duality. Okay? Not just conflicted with other people, but conflicted with themselves. As Larkin said, nobody can put any obligation upon you to do what you feel is not morally right. And these people are continuously doing things that they know in their heart of hearts is not morally right. But they're doing them anyway because they're too afraid of the consequences of not doing them, of stopping taking certain actions, having the courage not to do something, to say no. So they keep doing them. And that's called a cop-out. A cop-out. They call them the pole eyes. Okay, another green language word pun, all right? Because they're seeing things in duality, not in the unity consciousness. And here's what the Bible has to say on unity consciousness of the one eye. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when your eye is single, your whole body is full of light. But when your eye is dual, your body is full of darkness. From the Gospel of Luke, after looks, the light, okay? Officer, well, they're police, but they're police officers. This one is even more overt. An off-eye sir. Off-eye sir. Just break the letters down. An off-eye seer. Off-eye seer. Well, if you're an off-eye seer, that means that the third eye, or the one eye, is dark. It's gone out. The light of self is extinguished. Okay? It's a symbol to represent the murder of the soul, the extinguishing of the divine spark within us. And that is how dark occultists see the police and the military. And if you need more confirmation of that through words, they call them the military. Break that word down. Military. Now just change the vowel sounds to long I sounds instead of short I. Because that's how green language wordplay works. And it becomes my light awry. All we did is make the vowels long. Okay? My light awry. Well, if your light has gone awry, you exist in a state of darkness. And a soldier is being called a soul dyer. Okay, whether you even spell it as D-I-E-R or D-I-R-E phonetically, the soul is in a dire state. It's in a deadened state. The light has gone out. It has died. Soul is the word for light. Soul dyer, the one, is dead. Okay, the individual has died. And these institutions are all about collectivism. And the soul dyer, the very soul has died, the spiritual divine spark. If you don't believe my analysis of their occult words, let's hear their own words right from their mouth. Henry Kissinger quoted as saying that military men are just dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy. Well, do you think he's correct? They're only too happy to take their puppets, who they pull the strings of and make them dance however they wish them to dance, because they're very ill-educated about their own consciousness and their own health and state of well-being and what things are really going on in the world. They don't really pay attention, and so they can be made to dance on strings like puppets. And I want them to hear this. This is going online, and it's directed directly at them. I'm not even addressing this audience with this presentation. I'm directing the police and military and telling you this is what your owners think of you. Because I've been around them. And I saw the light and came out of that level of duality consciousness. And that's why I'm trying to explain this to others. Well, if you still don't believe their words coming right from their mouth, they'll put the symbolism of animals right on them. They're dogs. That's what they call them, our dogs. And they put dog tags on them. And that's painful. I understand that's a painful thing to hear. We all have members of our families who have once been in the military or the police. This is a dark occult ritual. It is satanic ritual abuse. That is what this is, except it's done through symbolism. Take gematria, occult numerology. The numbers 777 and 666 need to be understood. And then we need to understand a bit about gematria. Okay? 777's meaning in occultism is mankind in unity consciousness. The three digits represent thought, emotion, and action. And 7 means the state of activation, unification, or completeness. So 777 in occultism, in occult numerology, means thoughts, emotions, and actions activated, unified, and complete. This is why the number 666, 6 being the state of incompletion, and Freeman went into that, the Bob character and the number 6 in connection with the V and the W, okay? 666 represents a man in base consciousness or beast consciousness, the consciousness of an animal, okay? Thought, emotion, and action in a state of inactivity or incompleteness, or in other words, dead. Now, we can reduce. I have a column here called reduction. Add the 3 7s together, you get 21. Then add the 2 and the 1, and you get 3. That's called gematria reduction. You're going to reduce to one digit instead of 3 or 2. Add 666 together, you get 18. Then add the 1 and the 8, and you get 9. Okay, so these two numbers are significant in the occult. Again, 3, the divine triangle, the Trinity, thought, emotion, and action. Well, what does 9 represent? Again, don't take my words. Let's hear from our good buddy, Mr. Anton LaVey, high priest of the Church of Satan, who is no longer with us. He died back in 99. 9, number 9, despite others' attempts to identify a certain number with Satan, it will be known that 9 is his number. 9 is the number of the ego. For it always returns to itself, no matter what is done through the most complex multiplication of 9 by any other number. No matter what is done through the most complex multiplication of 9 by any other number, in the final equation, 9 alone will stand forth. And we're going to see what he means by this. This is quoted from his book, The Satanic Rituals. And again, this is Cub Scouts of Satanism, compared to where it goes. Okay? The properties of 9, which represents ego and base consciousness. The column to the left is the addition properties of the number 9 in arithmetic. No matter what number you add, grab my laser pointer, no matter what number you add to 9, okay, after the reduction of the addition, you return to the same number. 1 plus 9 is 10, add the 1 and the 0, you get 1. You can do that with any series of numbers, and it will always return to itself. This occultically means that adding ego to anything changes nothing. You cannot create change through ego. 9 times anything, the multiplicative properties of the number 9, always returns to 9. which is what LeVay was saying in the last quote. Okay, anything you multiply 9 by, you add the digits together, you will return to 9. This means when ego is multiplied, you only get more of the same thing. Again, no change results. Now we understand why it is equated with the number of the beast. And indeed, LeVay was indirectly telling you, yes, it is 666, is the number 9. He just wanted to occult that a little bit for the reader that didn't really understand gematria. Okay? The goal of, I'm sorry, I can go back there. The goal of consciousness needs to be to rise out of that state of base consciousness from the 666 or the beast to 777 or the number of man's completion. Okay, which is coming online in thought, emotion, and action, and unifying those three principles such that as we think, so we feel, so we act, and there is no contradiction or duality between those three principles of consciousness. When we do that, we have risen from the 9 to the 3. And that is why this number, 93, is one of the most powerful occult numbers in all of occult numerology. It means love, the will, and the ascension to higher states of consciousness. For one has transcended the 9 and gone to the 3, or the state of completion. In other words, the imperfect ashlar has become the perfect ashlar. Therefore, the number 911, which we all know a lot about after 2001, okay, is the number of falling short of the number of will. And again, this is occultically mocking not only the police, but the people who call them to solve their problems for them that result from base consciousness. Every time that number is dialed, it represents a failure of love, of the will, and of a transcendence or an ascension to higher levels of consciousness. Therefore, we add the 2 ones, we get the number 92. We have fallen short of the 93.